I also felt it very weird that like after driving to Florida a few years ago, I need to get Tommy John surgery because my elbow was out the windows for like 22 hours.
Johnny's in a waiting room with all these pitchers and athletes.
Absolutely.
Guys, next to Tampa Bay Devil Ray.
Yeah, that's it.
Child that threw up all over the place. And because I'm wired for sound and I'm a constant go, we didn't stop. Wife went back there and did the cleanup whilst driving still.
Didn't even pull over?
Haven't even cleaned it since. Literally have not cleaned my van.
Welcome to Bad Parents, a podcast about three bad parents who are trying to raise good kids. She's Shawna.
Hello.
He's Ryan.
What's up?
And I'm Johnny. A Tell It Like It Is podcast for parents to laugh, cry, and to make you feel better about your parenting.
We've all seen the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Today's episode's all about taking the kids on two of these with equally terrible results. No wonder the kids took a train to Hogwarts.
This is Bad Parents. Let's do a little bit of a roll call, okay, guys? Shawna, your kids' names?
Jack and Eli. Jack is 15 in grade 9. Eli is approximately 9.
Approximately, I like it.
Yeah.
It's bad parents.
Ryan Parker.
Let's go. 5'7", 180 pounds. Oh.
Likes to do sex more than us because he's got 3 kids.
Yes, I do.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've had sex 3 times if you're just getting to know
And
me.
it all took.
And I'll tell you right now, I don't know how to make girls. I guess you have to be sober because I got myself 3 boys.
I would concur with that. I have 2 boys.
Right. So Johnny's had sex sober once. Okay, so I have 3 boys. They are Drew, who is 8. They are Rory, who just turned 12, and Travis, who is in grade 9 as a 14.
Congratulations. I have 2 children. I scratched off the winning lottery ticket for the $1 million family. I have a boy who is 2 and a girl who is 4. And neither one of them were conceived via me and my wife having sex. Both of them, IVF. So I have 2 kids, both under the age of 5. One is 4 and one is 2. And this is the first time I took my kids on a plane. It was kind of like a trial run because we're going on 2 vacations that involve planes. One was 2 hours and 14 minutes down to Florida, really pushed the gas to get down there from Toronto.
That's fast.
Very fast. And I was very happy with it. I'm not the best flyer. So not only do I have anxiety of flying myself, but now I have anxiety of my kids bugging everybody and flying with small children. I could not have asked for a better outcome than what I got on the way down. On the way back on the plane, just as good. I was like 50% I would be happy with. Great down, great back. Worried about the ears for the first time, the elevation, all that good stuff.
Yeah, the ears.
And nothing happened. And you say to yourself, now we move on, where we're going to fly from Toronto to Vancouver, double the flight. It's like 5 hours out. It's not even Vancouver, it's Comox. Comox, Vancouver Island is where we're going. And I'm just, even though that went really well, I'm still sort of like really concerned. And when we were down there for vacations with kids, when is the cutoff age of when kids just don't know how to eat an ice cream cone?
Yeah, I think
like there's another side to it, guys. I just don't it's round. You got to lick around.
No, my kid's 9, Johnny, and still not allowed to have one in the car because it is still a disaster. And he's 9.
Because I feel it's like I'm not asking you to eat broccoli soup where it's just like you're just ignoring it. Like it's an ice cream cone to the point where I think everybody says printer ink is so expensive.
Yeah.
I go into ice cream shops and I'm going to be like, listen, whatever, I will pay the kiddie price for the ice cream. I want you to half it. Like half the amount I'm getting. I'm going to pay full pop kiddie price.
Yeah.
Give me half the kiddie scoop and it's still everywhere.
My 14-year-old just found out he doesn't actually have an allergy to cones. I told all 3 of my kids that they can't eat cones because it makes them sick. And you were a kid,
Ryan.
You don't remember because I always, and I mean always, make sure it's in a bowl. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
I am uber, like I don't like stickiness. I like cleanliness. I like to clean my hands a lot and stuff. And I can't handle seeing it. I can't handle being a part of it. So they always had one choice, and that is a bowl.
You picture those poor little kids. You know, when you go to a party or you go somewhere like Jenny allergies, ice cream cone.
I know, right?
They're like, well, what in the cone? No, just cones.
Like, you can still have pizza crust? Yeah, no, that's fine.
Hey,
the cones are weird.
The bowl can be made out of peanuts, and I don't care.
Amazing.
But
So-
it's got to be in a bowl.
I was super happy that we got to fly because I wasn't sure that, we had a hard time driving 4 hours to go see their grandfather. We had to stop like 3 times. So that was good. I just found that the hardest part was not necessarily the flight. In my head, I made it out worse than it was. It was the, when you go to the border and your dad's always like, hey, don't talk, let me talk. It's like going through security and Olivia and Jack just not being total wackos. Just sit in the stroller. Like, I want to push you around this airport. Nah, I want to walk. It's those moments that I found to be the most difficult, is like the security, the bags, when like Jack's watching his iPad, but the iPad's got to go through the x-ray machine and he won't have it. And you're just trying to be like, listen, these people have badges. And like,
they're way worse than actual criminals.
100%. Like, it has to get done. And so it's I guess it's the repetition of going through airports and them knowing what's going on. This was by far their first time, but flying is just
it's a
so
whole
good.
thing.
It's just so good. The flights are great. It's the waiting and the aftermath, because we were trying to be smart, and everybody gets a backpack and a carry-on, and all of our carry-ons made it on the plane except for Sarah's, my wife's, because she bought a carry-on bag that had the extra zipper that extends the width that didn't fit into the iron airplane. It has to fit in here in order to go up top. So it got checked at the gate. So now we're waiting for a checked carry-on bag.
No.
So it just extends the trip.
That's divorce for me.
Oh, I can. My husband would lose his mind if I was the one that did something like that. If we had a plan and I broke plan.
Sure. Because the plan was to carry on all bags.
Exactly.
And now the plan is we only carry on 3 of 4.
And
it's your bag.
Exactly.
That is disrupting this.
I'll say this. I just drove to Florida with 3 children, ages 9 to 12. I have PTSD, 14. I would fly with my wife pregnant, knowing she's giving birth on the plane before I'll ever drive with my family again.
Yeah, no road trip, right?
No, I've done it my whole life with these kids since they were 0, and now they are the ages I just said, and it was 21 hours there and 22 hours back, and we were there for technically less than a week.
Oh, God, Ryan.
It is grueling. It is brutal. You go through so many different emotions of highs and lows, and then even more lows. Certain states are much easier and much harder to drive in than others. West Virginia, if you're listening to this and you have a young child who gets car sick, don't go through West Virginia. Don't go through Virginia. And on the way back, don't go through Tennessee. We had a child that threw up all over the place. Because I'm wired for sound and I'm a constant go, we didn't stop. Wife went back there and did the cleanup whilst driving still.
You didn't even pull over?
Haven't even cleaned it since. Literally have not cleaned my van.
Okay, but from what Johnny's saying about all the airport stuff, right? Sometimes when you track it, it's really not much more to drive. So doesn't that sort of appeal to you, listening to him talk about security and waiting at the airport? You had a delay on the way home, right, Johnny?
Yeah, before you answer, we went down to Disney and we left the resort to come home at 2:30 in the afternoon and didn't get home to Toronto, which is about a 2.5-hour flight back from Orlando. We didn't get back till about 1 a.m. So, it's not 22 hours, but it was still enough time where the plane gets delayed and that all happens. Now, because we didn't know what to expect, we learned certain things. So one thing, if you're listening, I would always take the early flight coming home. It doesn't matter what you're going to be missing. The hurry up and wait part of coming home at like 2:30, 3, 4, 5, it just wasn't worth it for us. We're like,
just do like a 9 a.m.
Just get up and go.
Because you're not enjoying that day knowing you got to fly at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Good tip.
I thought, because I originally said to Sarah, no, we'll get the later one. They'll sleep on the plane. We'll enjoy the day at the pool. It was not. We had to be out of the room by 10.
Yeah.
Had to put all our bags at the check place in the hotel. Make sure we had extra clothes out of the pool. Like, it was a nightmare. forget it. It's not worth it. At least it wasn't for us.
Yeah.
Just get up, go, and get out.
Okay, good one.
By far, I mean, the difference is you have no control when you're flying, really, right? Because at the end of the day, when you're driving, God forbid, unless something happens to your car, you're kind of in control of when you want to go.
Exactly.
And when you, so there's obviously advantages and disadvantages. In our case, we drove because we wanted to take a bunch of beach stuff.
Yeah.
We didn't do the Disney. We just did beach and stuff like that. So that's why my wife wanted to drive. I wanted to fly. So we negotiated and we drove.
I think the difference between flying and driving, right, is how do you keep their attention or let them lose their attention to something that is distractive in order to make the time go by. For us, we made each one of the kids their own special backpacks. So in the backpacks were like, and this is, wouldn't apply to your kids, Shawna and I, like crayons, like, those like mystery marker books where like it's invisible ink. And if you put it on it, like a picture shows up.
Smart.
Like all these sort of things, including the iPads. Snacks, crayons, whole bunch of stuff. It was all gone through while we were waiting at the gate.
Yeah.
Like it was just destroyed. So all of our sort of like pre-planning had totally gone out the window before we even got on the flight. And it's amazing as you grow up what is important and not important on an airplane. For me, what's important is the flight tracker, where I sit there and I watch time, elevation, speed, and the most important, estimated time of arrival, right? I'm just counting it down. So we're on our way back. Jack and Sarah are sleeping. We got the one row of 3, and then I was on the aisle on the other side. So Olivia would come over and sit on my lap back and forth. The plane takes off, and 45 minutes into the flight, they start drink service, right? Like, hey, does anybody want a pop or whatever, right? As that's happening, somebody comes from the loudspeaker and says, probably the worst thing for me that you could say over the loudspeaker. Is there a medical professional on the plane?
Oh my God.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
no.
Is there a medical professional on the plane? So this is after like leaving the resort at 2:30. We're finally got on the plane at 8:30. So 45 minutes in. So it's like 9:15.
Yeah.
And I just want to let's just go. And my kids could not have been fazed more by that announcement. They're at 0. I'm at 100 because I think somebody is just heart attacking in, business class.
Yeah.
And I'm like, selfish Garbett is like, please don't bring this plane down
Right.
in like Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
And so like things are kind of happening.
I'd be thinking, can I take his seat?
Like everybody is like standing up at the front. It's a real frou for all at the front. And I'm just kind of like, the anxiety Garbett of not a good flyer is like, what is going on?
I feel like you would fake being
Oh
a
my
medical
God.
professional, go up to the guy and just go in his ear. You're going to get through this and you're going to land. We're going to get to where we're going.
Yeah.
Would you rather, be honest, would you rather you have to land in Chattanooga and he's alive, or he dies and you go straight to Toronto?
Because I wonder to myself,
He didn't answer the
Yeah,
question.
well, we all know.
if it's quick and fast, like you're not landing the plane, like you just get to the destination and like, have the
God.
announcement. But anywho, he just had, sorry, I shouldn't say he had a seizure.
Okay.
And,
I thought you were going to say he was choking or
no,
something.
he had a seizure.
A Caesar?
No, a seizure. And so things kind of calm down a little bit.
Okay.
And so I take Olivia to the bathroom. And while Olivia's in the bathroom at the back of the plane, I say to the flight attendant, hey, everything okay up there?
Yeah.
Everything all right? He's like, yeah, the guy just had a seizure. It was pretty hot in Florida. And I said,
He didn't do seizure.
I said, I don't have any medical license whatsoever. Are seizures brought on by humidity? Because he's like, that was his basis of why this gentleman
Yeah.
or female.
But you
I don't
were
know
not in
that.
Florida anymore.
I understand. We were like over like
In a plane.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
But I guess, maybe after effects. I don't know. But anywho, he goes, it's all okay now.
The flight attendant said
Yeah.
it's all okay.
It's all okay. He's prone to seizures. So he had it.
okay.
And now he's okay. And I said, okay. Like now he's totally fine. Like when we get to where we're going, is there going to be like ambulances like on the tarmac waiting to take, like everything is so.
Are you concerned at all for this man or just your delay?
Just the delay.
Okay, all right. It sounds like it's just the delay.
Once I found it was like the flight attendant no-sold the seizure like everybody has them.
Okay.
So I felt okay that he was okay, but I'm just like, how is this going to inconvenience me on the other side? When I because he seems to be like, if he had a heart attack, like it was imperative that we get down to the ground. What are you going to do?
He should at least let everyone else first off the plane first.
Right.
He should at least say, I potentially screwed everything up. Y'all get to go before me.
Yeah. And they were great. Like the flight attendants were amazing. They attended to it. Like we all got water, which is nice. At the end, everybody got water.
Yeah.
And I was like, sometimes like on New Year's Eve, somebody like just gets absolutely trashed before like 7:30 at night.
Oh yeah.
Passes out, pukes, blah, blah. Then like back, let's go, 11:30, let's go, it's New Year's. That's what this guy did. And I was so impressed by it. But I'm like, my kids could not have cared. They had no idea what was going on.
They don't know.
Zero.
You could have had the seizure and they wouldn't care.
No, they would not have cared.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe that is a big difference because we both had medical emergencies. One of your kids puked in the thing.
Yes.
And somebody in row 11C seizured out, but like made it through. And did anybody like yell, is there a medical emergency in this caravan?
The only thing I'll say is you mentioned you looked over and your wife was asleep.
Yes.
There's a big difference between looking over and seeing your spouse asleep on a plane and in a car. And I'll tell you this. Because your wife's sleeping in a plane, great. You're happy for her. I'm glad you helped.
Yeah.
When you're driving 22 hours and you look to your right and you see your spouse,
are you mad?
You're like, it must be freaking nice. The old man is up here. I'm on hour 18 of driving. The kids are all asleep. You're asleep. And I'm barreling through Ohio by myself.
And how much trouble would you get if you caught yourself 5 minutes while driving?
Well, if I fell asleep while driving.
Yeah, you would have gotten in big time trouble.
And
I don't think that's fair.
No.
Everybody deserves to sleep.
Whether you're driving or not, you should be able to have a nap
Sure.
in the car.
Yes.
So out of the three of us, Ryan's had a vacation and I've had a vacation with the kids. Shawna, you are still to have a vacation with the kids and you're thinking about staying relatively local.
I want neither a road trip nor a flight. So I have just chosen to go north about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
So how are you getting there? By bike?
It's not a road trip if it's an hour and a half.
No,
correct?
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, an hour and a half. I wasn't even in the border of the United States.
Yeah.
And you're going to be at your place.
Exactly. No snacks, no fun, nothing.
AsWeTravel.com
Yes.
has given a whole bunch of pros and cons of driving versus flying. So let's not poo-poo you getting in a plane and flying an hour and a half north to your destination, okay?
Okay.
Just yet until you hear this, okay?
All right, got it.
Just give me a sec. Okay. Pros and cons driving versus flying. So let's go with the pros of driving, okay? And you can either disagree with it or agree with it.
Okay, I like this.
You're in charge. By and large, people enjoy their holidays more when they have greater freedom, and the car does give you that.
I do like that. If I need to stop somewhere and get an egg bite, I can get one.
Which rolls right into this. No airplane food.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Now, can I just say one thing quick? I really love airplane food.
Me too.
I don't know where that started from. Every airplane food I've ever had, I've enjoyed very much. But I'm also a terrible cook, so bar is low.
That's one of the pros of driving is no airplane food. But I'm not. Because you can also can totally smoke duty free and just bring on like massive amounts of like chips and it's just nuts. The best. Yeah, you can take as much luggage as you like. Mm-hmm. Is that a pro?
Yes.
Because for you, right, I think that's a con because it's like she's going with 4, you're going with 5.
Oh yeah, listen, my van was loaded. We bring the house with us.
Yeah.
It's great. It's convenient. You know, when you're on the beach and you want to turn and you're sitting on a chair rather than sitting on the sand, but it's just more work.
I always think you can buy anything you need.
Thank you.
Now,
my wife does not agree with that.
I brought 0 toys. No toys were brought to us from Florida.
Okay.
Like I'm talking like serious, like Paw Patrol, Peppa Pig stuff, like zero toys.
Zero. You had a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Toys. Don't believe we went to Disney. They cleaned up. Don't worry. They came back with toys and we went down with zero.
Okay.
How many kid-centric things ended up in your van 24 hours driving from Toronto to South Florida?
It's crazy. My son, my little guy, brought a suitcase, which takes up space, of all stuffies.
Aww. That's a nice...
No, you say aw because you were in the car or had to pack it or had to drive it. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
How many did he play with while we were there? 0%. Zero.
That's the problem with the packing. It's not always used.
That's right. And so we have all that sorts of stuff. Our car is loaded full of like drawings, sketchbooks, you name it. So we bring it.
So that made him feel better that he was bringing them. If you were flying, would you pay the $35 for that bag to go underneath that plane? Of course you would.
Sir. Daddy forgot. Sorry, buddy. Daddy forgot your suitcase of stuff is in the car.
AsWeTravel.com, the pros and cons of driving versus flying. I flew, Ryan drove. Shawna's she's on the fence of what she's going to do. One of the pros of driving, they say, is total radio control.
Yes, that's true.
Total radio control.
Yeah, listen, that's an advantage.
I'm starting to think road tripping's where it's at.
I'm going to tell you right now, if I don't mind me interrupting.
Of course
road tripping's where it's at. And I'm going to give you the number. If you want a vibe of a road trip, you get the snacks, you get the coffee, and you get excited, and you're going to maybe stop and get butter tarts on the way somewhere.
Yeah.
Top is 8 hours.
I was thinking that. That's why we're Red Sox fans.
Right.
That's 8 hours away.
That's 8 hours away, and that you get the vibe, so you get the feeling of the road trip, but you're not overwhelmed when you're there.
Okay, so for example, how many stops do you each think with the kids and you? How your kids are?
15 and 9.
Yours are
9, 12, and 14.
Sorry for putting you on the spot.
Sorry, he just turned.
So 8 hours. Okay. How many stops are you making, Shawna?
I like 5, please.
Oh, Shawna, we're divorced.
Okay.
We're duh.
I like 5, please.
So you like to not get to your location.
Like one every hour and 15
Shawna,
minutes.
you're insane. You're insane.
Okay.
You're insane.
I stop sometimes twice before we're fully on the road because I'll need to go get my coffee on. And then I also like to stop sometimes at like a nice grocer and get fresh fruit.
Well, if you're
that
my
means
wife,
that you're leaving post 9 o'clock?
My husband loses his mind with my pre-stops.
If you're going on a road trip and you're leaving while the grocery store just opened up, you are so late. You need like birds. Rye, how many stops are you making? 8-hour road trip?
I just did it. 2 would be tops. I like to get at least 4 hours in before we even think about doing anything else.
What's the point of having all that control, as you say, and ability to do what you want if you're not going to do what you want?
You want to get there. You want to get what I like to call some pavement under the wheels.
I'm a journey girl.
No.
Easier to pack. AsWeTravel.com. Pros and cons. Driving versus flying. Pros of driving. Easier to pack.
Absolutely. I'm a very liquid conscious person. I freak out about flying with liquids, that it's going to explode because my products are very expensive.
Okay. You're packing the truck 8 hours.
Yeah.
Who's doing the physical Tetris of the bags?
Husband.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
All right.
In a guy, it's like you take a picture of that and you send it to your buddies. You're proud of it.
I tried once early in our relationship to pack a vehicle.
Disaster.
That almost was the end of our relationship.
Yeah, that's right.
I almost feel like you never get a second try. You do it once, you fail, and it's over. You never get it back. AsWeTravel.com, pros and cons, driving versus flying. Now let's get into the pros of flying. Driving takes a lot of time.
Yes, that's the number one.
Driving takes a lot of time.
That's it.
Right?
You win
2 hours and 14 minutes.
Yes.
From gate to gate, Toronto to Orlando. Now, yes, Ryan's destination was further south than mine. Ryan, my gate to gate was 2.5 hours or 2 hours.
I drove past Orlando, probably around the 18 or 19 hour mark.
There you go.
Teens.
You stopped in Charleston, South Carolina, correct? First day?
On our way down, yes.
Pros of flying. Driving is exhausting.
Yes.
How did you feel when you pulled into the parking lot of the Red Roof?
We actually tried to stay at a Red Roof on the way home.
Should.
I'll tell you this. I got like pretty much buzzed after one beer in the parking lot.
Oh.
Because you're so tired. And, you know
that was
what I mean?
just before you left.
Yeah. And then we went to Charleston. Because you're just so it's so weird. You actually get out and your feet, everything feels weird. Like you feel like you've been on a trampoline or something,
Your
and then you're on
blood
flat.
flow.
Yeah, it's weird.
I also felt it very weird that like after driving to Florida a few years ago, I need to get Tommy John surgery because my elbow was out the windows for like 22 hours.
Johnny's in a waiting room with all these pitchers and athletes.
Absolutely.
Guys, next to Tampa Bay Devil Ray.
Yeah, that's it. Driving can be expensive. How much you drop on gas, bro?
Johnny, I can't even get the
No
number.
way. No matter what he did, what he stopped, how much gas, no way it was equivalent. He had
2,000.
5 people in his family.
I would say this. It would be cheaper to drive than it is to fly.
Yes.
But it's not like flying is $8,000 and driving is $1,000. Like it adds
So I'll tell you,
up. And I'll tell you because when you're driving in Florida, there's these HOV lanes that cost money. My wife found the email yesterday. Holy cow.
What? I've never heard of this.
4 of us to fly down. I think Jack was free. I think he was free, but he got his own seat. So I don't think he was free.
No.
$2,000 there and back. I was told that was expensive.
$2,000 for 4 people. That's pretty good.
Okay, so $2,000.
Johnny, we spent that in snacks.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, in that case.
Here's a big one for me. Even though I don't believe this whatsoever, driving is more dangerous.
Of course it
Yes,
is.
it is.
Right?
Of course it is.
Not necessarily.
No, Johnny,
Yes, it
of
is.
course it is. They've done tons of research on this.
You're the new
Johnny, all jokes aside, there was times where I'm like driving through these really crazy states, beautiful, and I'm thinking if I just didn't concentrate for a second, I could kill my family.
Oh yeah.
There was one point where I did do a little drift. You know, my heart goes into your stomach. There's no chance.
No.
There's no chance flying is more dangerous than driving.
Well, it is to me because I'm scared to do it.
Well, that's incorrect.
Yeah, well, that's my fears are just as real as your fears. Okay, so that's all they have really for pros for flying. Not that many, except it's less expensive. So it sounds like driving is the way to go if you're going to do it. So here's what I have, because I do have a fear of flying. Fear of flying, you would say. Have you ever heard anybody have a fear of driving?
I get a little claustrophobic the thought of a long road trip. Like I was feeling it for Ryan when he was like saying it's going to be 22 hours. There were moments of the day when I thought about where you'd be at. I felt anxiety. So I don't know whether that's a thing, but the thought of being trapped in a car like for long road trips, maybe it's claustrophobia.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
so there we go. So you heard my story. You heard Ryan's story. I flew. Ryan drove. What are you going to do?
I think I'm going to stay home.
Hey!